Jack Harris checked the control panel of his cargo ship one more time before leaning back in his pilot's seat with a sigh. He had been flying for 16 hours straight, and the endless darkness of space was starting to wear on him. The small ship, called Starlight, was his home and workplace for the past 5 years. Since leaving Earth, Jack made a living delivering supplies to the outer colonies. His was not a glamorous job, but it paid well enough and gave him the freedom he craved. His current mission was simple: drop medical supplies to Nova Station, then head back to Central Command for his next assignment. Jack enjoyed the quiet of space travel, but sometimes the loneliness got to him. At 32 years old, he had few connections back on Earth and even fewer in the colonies. His life was his ship and the open stars. A sudden beeping from the control panel jolted Jack from his thoughts. The radar had picked up something unusual, an unregistered distress signal coming from a nearby planet. According to his star charts, this planet was not part of any colony network. It was uncharted territory. Jack hesitated. Space regulations required all pilots to investigate distress signals, but uncharted planets could be dangerous. He had heard stories of pirates using fake distress signals to lure unsuspecting ships. Still, Jack could not ignore someone who might need help. He adjusted his course and headed toward the mysterious planet as Starlight entered the atmosphere. Jack was surprised by what he saw below him. Spread a landscape of purple forests and glittering blue lakes. The sky had a pinkish tint that made everything look dreamlike. The air readings showed the atmosphere was breathable, though with higher oxygen levels than Earth. Jack landed his ship in a small clearing surrounded by strange trees with spiral trunks. When he opened the hatch, a sweet smell filled his nostrils, unlike anything he had experienced before. He stepped out cautiously, wearing his standard issue blaster on his hip. The distress signal was coming from somewhere to the east. After walking for about 20 minutes, Jack spotted it. A crashed ship unlike any human vessel he had ever seen. It had smooth curves and appeared to be made of some type of crystal that shimmered in the alien sunlight. The ship was badly damaged, with a large crack running down its side. Jack approached carefully, calling out to see if anyone was inside. When no answer came, he found what appeared to be an entrance and made his way inside. The interior was even stranger than the outside, with floating lights and controls that seemed to respond to movement rather than touch. In what Jack guessed was the main cabin, he found them. 4 female figures lying unconscious on the floor. At first glance, they appeared almost human, but as he got closer, Jack realized they were definitely alien. Their skin had a faint blue glow, and their long hair was silver with strands that seemed to move on their own, despite the lack of wind. They wore simple garments that looked like flowing dresses made of material that changed color slightly as it moved. Jack checked for pulses and found they were alive. Though their heartbeats were faster than human normal, he noticed they had injuries, some minor and some more serious. Drawing on his training as a former combat medic, Jack knew he needed to get them to his ship, where he had better medical supplies. One by one, he carried them back to Starlight. It took several trips, and by the time he brought the last alien, the sky had darkened to a deep purple. Inside his ship, Jack set up makeshift beds in the cargo hold and began treating their wounds. He worked through the night using his emergency medical kit and improvising when needed. As the alien sun rose, Jack finally sat down exhausted. He had done all he could now. It was a waiting game. He watched the 4 alien women as they slept, wondering who they were and how they had crashed on this planet. Their features were delicate, with high cheekbones and slightly pointed ears. Their skin seemed to pulse with a gentle inner light that was mesmerizing to watch. Jack must have dozed off because he woke with a start to find a pair of golden eyes staring at him. The first alien had awakened and was watching him with curiosity. Her eyes were unlike anything Jack had ever seen. They looked like pools of liquid gold with no visible pupils, yet somehow Jack could feel her gaze studying him. She spoke, and to his surprise, Jack understood her. The words sounded like English, though, with a musical quality that made them seem to float in the air. "My name is Lyra," she said, her voice soft but clear. "I thank you for your help." "Human." Jack introduced himself, still amazed that they could communicate. She explained that her kind had universal translators embedded in their vocal cords, allowing them to speak any language after hearing just a few words. Lyra told him that she and her sisters Vela, Karina, and Mira were princesses from a planet called Lumina. They had been on a diplomatic mission when their ship was attacked by space pirates. Their pilot had been killed in the attack, and they had barely managed to escape in a smaller vessel. But it had been damaged, and they crashed on this planet. As Lyra spoke, the second alien began to stir. Her eyes were silver, unlike her sister's golden ones. She looked at Jack with alarm until Lyra spoke to her in their language. The newcomer relaxed and introduced herself as Vela. She thanked Jack with a formal bow that made him feel awkward. By midday, the other two sisters had awakened as well. Karina with eyes of deep purple and Mira whose eyes shifted colors like an aurora. They were all grateful to Jack and fascinated. By him, they explained they had heard of humans but had never met one before. They touched his hair and skin with gentle fingers, marveling at how different he was from the males of their species. Jack learned that on Lumina, their homeworld females outnumbered males by 20-1. Because of this, their society had evolved with females in all positions of power. Males were protected and revered, but rarely left the safety of their world. The sisters were amazed that a male like Jack would travel alone through dangerous space. As they recovered, Jack shared his rations with them, though they seemed more interested in the fruits they found growing near the landing site. The sisters told Jack about their world, describing crystal cities that floated in the clouds and creatures that resembled earth dragons that served as transportation for royalty. Jack was captivated by their stories and their gentle manner. They seemed to genuinely appreciate his help and company. In turn, they were fascinated by his tales of Earth and human colonies. Though they were clearly advanced in some ways, they found human technology interesting and different from their own. For 3 days they lived in this strange harmony on the uncharted planet. Jack showed them how his ship worked while they taught him about the local plants and which were safe to eat. They seemed to have an innate connection to the natural world around them. On the 4th day, Jack woke to the sound of Lyra calling his name urgently. He rushed from his sleeping quarters to find all 4 sisters staring at the sky. Their faces showed fear, something he had not seen in them before. Jack followed their gaze and saw it, a dark shape against the pink sky, moving slowly but deliberately. It was a ship, and not a friendly-looking one. Lyra confirmed his fears. "They found us," she whispered. "The pirates who attacked our royal vessel. They must have tracked our escape." Podjack felt his heart race. These aliens had become his friends in the short time they had been together, and he would not let them come to harm. He quickly led them back inside his ship and began preparations. "We need to either hide or fight," he said. "What can you tell me about these pirates?" Vela spoke up, her silver eyes flashing. "They are ruthless criminals who seek to capture us for ransom. Our mother, the Queen, would pay any price for our safe return. They know this and will stop at nothing. That settles it then," Jack said. "We fight." The sisters looked at each other uncertainly. Karina, with her purple eyes, spoke. "We are not warriors, Jack. We are diplomats and scholars. Our royal guards were killed in the initial attack," Jack thought. Quickly, he had weapons on board, standard issue for cargo pilots traveling through dangerous territories, but not enough for a proper battle. Then he remembered the crashed alien ship. "Is there anything useful left in your vessel?" he asked. "Weapons." Defense systems. Mira, whose eyes shifted between blues and greens, nodded. "Some of our technology might still work," she said. "The ship is damaged, but many systems have independent power sources." Jack made a decision. They would salvage what they could from the alien ship and prepare a defense. Together they hurried back to the crashed vessel. The pirate ship was still high in the atmosphere, giving them perhaps an hour before it landed. Inside the crashed ship, Mira and Vela worked quickly, identifying systems that could still function. Jack was amazed as he watched them. Their hands moved over panels that responded to their touch with glowing symbols. "This is a light bender," said Lyra, pointing to a small device. "It can create illusions to confuse enemies." Karina found what looked like slender wands. "These are stun staff," she explained. "They can temporarily paralyze without causing permanent harm." While the sisters gathered their technology, Jack returned to his ship and collected his weapons. He had a blaster, 2 stun grenades, and a combat knife. It wasn't much, but combined with the alien tech, they might stand a chance back at his ship. Jack taught the sisters how to use his weapons while they showed him how their technology worked. Lyra revealed another surprise. "We each have natural abilities that might help," she said. "On our world, most females develop special talents." Lyra demonstrated by creating a ball of light in her palm that she could shape and move at will. "I can manipulate light," she explained. "I can create illusions or temporary blindness." Vela showed her ability, next lifting small objects without touching them. "I have telekinesis, though not very strong," she said apologetically. Karina stepped outside and made a strange, whistling sound. Within minutes, several small flying creatures that resembled a cross between birds and lizards surrounded her. "I can communicate with animals," she explained. "They will help us watch for the pirates." Mira was last. Her ability was perhaps the most valuable. "I can heal," she said, placing her color-shifting eyes on Jack. "I sense injuries and can accelerate natural healing. It is why I knew how to help you treat our wounds." When we first awoke, Jack was amazed. These abilities, combined with their technology and his weapons, gave them a fighting chance. He quickly developed a plan. They would set traps around the clearing and try to disable the pirate ship when it landed. The hours passed quickly as they prepared Jack, dug pits and covered them with branches. Lyra created illusions to hide their preparations. Vela used her telekinesis to position heavy branches high in the trees that could be dropped on command. Karina sent her animal friends to watch the pirates approach. Mira prepared healing supplies for injuries they might sustain. When the pirate ship finally descended, it was larger than Jack had expected, a dark vessel with spikes protruding from its hull. It landed at the edge of the clearing, exactly where they had hoped. Jack and the sisters hid among the strange spiral trees, weapons ready. The ship door opened and 6 figures emerged. They were tall, muscular beings with rough, scaly skin in shades of red and orange. Their eyes were black slits, and they carried what were clearly weapons. Jack felt a moment of doubt. These creatures looked formidable. The leader, a particularly large pirate with a scar across his face, spoke in a guttural language. The translator in Jack's ear that Lyra had given him converted the words, "I smell royalty. The princesses are here. Find them and kill anyone else." Jack gave the signal and their plan sprang into action. Karina whistled and her flying creatures bombed the pirates, creating confusion. Lyra created illusions, making it appear as if the ground was splitting open beneath them. 2 pirates fell into the actual pits Jack had dug. Vela used her telekinesis to drop heavy branches onto another pirate. Mira stayed hidden, ready to heal any injuries their side might sustain. Jack took careful aim with his blaster and shot at the ship's thrusters, disabling their ability to make a quick escape. The battle that followed was chaotic. The remaining pirates were skilled fighters. Jack had never seen such strength and speed. He fired his blaster, hitting one in the shoulder. The pirate staggered but kept coming. Lyra blinded another with a flash of intense light, allowing Jack to tackle him to the ground. Vela and Karina worked together, one distracting a pirate while the other attacked from behind. Jack was impressed by their courage despite their lack of combat training. These royal sisters were fighters at heart. The pirate leader realized they had been ambushed and bellowed in rage. He spotted Jack and charged. At him, Jack fired his blaster, but the pirate dodged with unexpected agility. For a terrifying moment, Jack thought he was about to die, but then Lyra created an illusion of Jack moving to the left, while he actually rolled right. The pirates slashed at empty air. The tide was turning in their favor. 4 pirates were down and the 5th was fighting a losing battle against Vela and Karina. Only the leader remained dangerous and focused. In a desperate move, the pirate leader grabbed a small device from his belt and threw it toward the sisters. It exploded in a flash of blue light. Jack, without thinking, threw himself in front of Mira, who was closest. The blast hit him in the chest, and he felt a burning pain spread through his body as Jack fell. To the ground, he heard screams of anger from the sisters. Through blurry vision, he saw amazing things. Lyra created a light so intense it seemed to burn. Vela lifted rocks the size of small cars with her mind. Karina commanded an army of flying creatures that swarmed the pirate leader. Mira rushed to Jack's side, her hands already glowing with healing energy. The sisters fought with a fury Jack had not thought possible. These diplomatic princesses became warriors to protect him, just as he had protected them. The last thing Jack saw before losing consciousness was the pirate leader falling under the combined assault. When Jack awoke, he was back in his ship lying on his own bed. The pain in his chest was gone. He tried to sit up and found he could move easily. Mira sat beside him, her color-shifting eyes watching him with concern. "You are healed," she said softly, "but you need rest. That weapon should have killed you. Your human physiology is remarkably resilient." Jack looked around. The other sisters were there too, all watching him with expressions he couldn't quite read. "Did we win?" he asked. Lyra stepped forward, her golden eyes shining. "We won thanks to you. The pirates are defeated. Their ship is disabled, and we have sent a distress signal to our homeworld. A rescue vessel is already on the way." Jack felt relief wash over him. They were safe. The pirates were defeated and help was coming. But a strange feeling of sadness also crept in. Soon the sisters would leave and he would continue, his solitary life delivering cargo to distant colonies. The sisters seemed to sense his thoughts. Vela spoke next, her silver eyes serious. "Jack Harris, you have done something no outsider has ever done. You have saved the 4 royal princesses of Lumina." Karina continued where Vela left off, her purple eyes intense. "On our world there is a sacred tradition. When someone saves a royal life, they are forever bound to the royal family." Jack listened, confused about where this was going. Mira, whose eyes were now a soft blue, explained further. "Since you have saved not one but all 4 princesses of the royal house, you have earned a special place in our culture." Jack sat up straighter, now curious. What exactly does that mean? Lyra stepped forward, a slight blush making her blue skin glow brighter. "It means by our laws and customs you would be welcomed into the royal family. Through marriage." Jack nearly choked. "Marriage? But I barely know you." The sisters exchanged looks, and Vela clarified. "On Lumina, when a royal life is saved, the savior is given the honor of joining the royal family through marriage. It is our highest expression of gratitude and respect." But Jack stammered, "There are 4 of you." Mira nodded, her eyes shifting to a deep purple. "Yes, and you saved all 4 of us. By our traditions, each of us owes you a life debt that can only be repaid through the sacred bond." Jack was stunned. This was not how rescue missions usually ended on Earth. He tried to explain Earth customs regarding marriage and how humans typically married for love after long courtships. The sisters listened with fascination. "Our ways are different," Lyra said gently. "But we do not suggest this union without feeling. We may not have known you long, Jack Harris, but you have shown us your true character through your actions. You are brave, selfless, and kind. These are the qualities most valued in a life mate." Jack didn't know what to say. He couldn't deny that he found the sisters fascinating and beautiful. Their grace, intelligence, and newly revealed courage had impressed him deeply. Still, marriage to 4 alien princesses was not something he had ever considered. "You would be honored on our world," Karina added, sensing his hesitation. "You would have status and respect beyond anything you know as a cargo pilot." "I need time to think about this," Jack finally said. "This is a lot to process." The sisters nodded, understanding in their eyes. "Time is something we can give you," Mira said. "But know that our offer comes from genuine admiration and growing affection." The next few days passed in a strange, comfortable routine. Jack and the sisters repaired what they could of his ship and salvaged useful technology from the aliens' vessel. They kept the pirate leader and his crew contained, using the stun staffs and force field technology from the sisters. Shipjack learned more about Lumina and its customs. The sisters explained that their society valued intelligence, creativity, and harmony above all. Their world had not known war for thousands of years, which explained their initial lack of combat skills. Males on their world were revered for their rarity and lived lives of comfort and intellectual pursuit. In turn, Jack told them about Earth, its complicated history, and the expansion of human colonies across the stars. He described the variety of human cultures and how Earth was both beautiful and flawed. The sisters listened with rapt attention, asking thoughtful questions that showed genuine interest. Days turned into a week. Jack found himself growing closer to each sister in different ways. He enjoyed Lyra's quiet wisdom and her ability to see beauty in everything. Vela's determination and practical nature reminded him of himself. Karina's gentle way with living creatures showed a compassion he admired. Myra's healing spirit and ever-changing moods kept him fascinated. Jack began to wonder if perhaps there might be a place for him on Lumina. Not as a royal husband necessarily, but as someone who could contribute to their world. He had grown tired of his solitary existence, and the connection he felt with these four remarkable beings made him question his future plans. On the 8th day since the battle, their conversation was interrupted by a sound from above. A ship was entering the atmosphere. But unlike the pirate's vessel, this one gleamed with a silvery light. The rescue ship from Lumina. Lyra said excitement and something like sadness in her golden eyes. "They have come for us," Jack felt his heart sink. Despite the strangeness of the situation, he had enjoyed his time with the sisters. Now reality was returning. They would go back to their royal duties and he to his cargo runs. The Luminan ship was magnificent, much larger than the sisters' crashed vessel and clearly designed for both beauty and function. It landed with barely a sound at the edge of the clearing, and a ramp extended to the ground. 8 tall figures descended from the ship, wearing gleaming armor that shifted colors with every movement. They approached with weapons drawn until Lyra called out to them in their native language. The guards immediately dropped to one knee, their heads bowed. The sisters spoke rapidly to the guards, occasionally gesturing toward Jack. He caught his name several times but couldn't understand the rest of the conversation. Finally, Lyra turned to him. "These are our royal guards," she explained. "They thank you for saving us and for capturing the pirates who will face justice on Lumina. They wish to escort us home immediately." Jack nodded, understanding that their adventure was coming to an end. "I should prepare my ship for departure as well." Vela placed a hand on his arm. "That will not be necessary. They have brought a royal transport vessel large enough for your ship to be stored within. There is no need for you to fly separately." Jack was confused. "Are you suggesting I come with you to Lumina?" "All?" 4 sisters nodded. Karina spoke. "We have discussed it and we are in agreement. We wish you to come to our world as our honored guest. You need make no decisions about our offer until you have seen Lumina for yourself." The idea was tempting. Jack had never seen an alien civilization before. Most human contact with other species was limited to trading outposts and diplomatic stations. The chance to visit an alien homeworld was rare, especially for someone of his status. "But what about my delivery?" Jack asked. "I have medical supplies that need to reach Nova Station." Mira smiled, her eyes a confident green. "We have already arranged for another ship to complete your delivery. The Luminan Diplomatic Corps has excellent relations with your Earth government. A simple cargo transfer is easily managed." Jack realized they had thought of everything. They were giving him an opportunity that few humans would ever have. The chance to see their world without commitment to decide his future, after experiencing what life on Lumina might be like. With a deep breath, Jack made his decision. "I would be honored to visit your world." The joy on the sisters' faces made any doubts fade. The royal guards escorted them to the larger ship. Jack's small vessel was carefully secured in a spacious hold that could have fit several ships its size. The pirate prisoners were placed in a separate secured area. The interior of the royal ship was even more impressive than the exterior. The walls seemed alive with shifting colors and patterns that responded to the movements of those nearby. The gravity was slightly lighter than Earth standard, making Jack feel strangely buoyant. The sisters showed Jack to his quarters, a suite larger than his entire cargo ship. The bed looked like a pool of softly glowing mist. The walls responded to his thoughts, changing color and pattern. As his mind wandered, Jack touched the strange material of the wall and felt a slight vibration like the purr of a cat. "This is how we live," Lyra explained, watching his amazement. "Our technology is based on a harmony between organic and inorganic elements. Everything you see is partly alive. Jack spent hours exploring the ship with the sisters as his guides. They showed him gardens that grew in zero-gravity observation decks with views that bent space to show distant stars more clearly, and kitchens that produced food based on thought alone. As they traveled deeper into space, Jack learned that Lumina was several light-years from Earth in a sector that human ships rarely visited. The journey would take 3 Earth days using the Luminan ship's advanced propulsion system. During those days, Jack grew even closer to the sisters. He learned to tell them apart, not just by their eyes, but by their mannerisms. Lyra was thoughtful, and often looked into the distance. When speaking, Vela stood straight and moved with precision. Karina often had small flying creatures perched on her shoulders. Mira gestured expressively, her hands never still. Jack also noticed subtle changes in how the royal guards treated him. At first they had been formal and distant, but as they observed his interactions with the princesses, their attitude shifted to one of respect. They began to bow slightly when he entered a room. On the 3rd day, Lyra found Jack on the observation deck, staring at the stars. She stood beside him in comfortable silence for a moment before speaking. "We will reach Lumina tomorrow," she said softly. "Are you nervous?" Jack nodded. "I am. Your world sounds wonderful, but very different from what I know. I worry about fitting in." Lyra took his hand, her blue skin warm against his. "You saved us when you could have ignored the distress signal. You fought for us when you could have hidden. You risked your life for people not of your kind." Jack Harris. "These actions show a spirit that would be welcomed on any world." Jack woke to the sound of soft chimes. His room was gradually brightening, mimicking a sunrise. The wall displayed a message in both the Luminan script and English translation, approaching Lumina. Arrival in 1 hour, excitement and nervousness filled Jack as he dressed in new clothes provided by the sisters. The fabric felt like silk but adjusted to his body temperature, keeping him perfectly comfortable. He made his way to the observation deck where the sisters were waiting. "Look," said Mira, pointing to the large viewing window. Jack gasped at the sight before him. Lumina was unlike any planet he had ever seen. It seemed to glow from within with swirling colors of blue, purple, and silver. Surrounding the planet were rings not of rock like Saturn, but of what appeared to be light itself. Glittering cities could be seen even from space, looking like constellations against the planet's surface. "It is beautiful," Jack whispered. Vela smiled, her silver eyes reflecting the light of her homeworld. "This is just the beginning," she said. "Wait until you see it up close." The ship began its descent through the atmosphere. Jack watched in wonder as they passed through clouds that sparkled like diamonds. Below them spread a landscape of crystal forests flowing, rivers that glowed in the dark, and cities that seemed to float on air. The largest city was their destination. The captain announced they were approaching the royal capital of Ilaria. The city was built on massive crystal pillars that raised it above a valley of silver trees. At its center stood a palace that seemed to be made of light itself. As they landed on a platform high above the ground, Jack could see hundreds of Luminans gathered to welcome the princesses home. Most appeared female, with the same blue skin and silver hair as the sisters, though in various shades and styles. Jack spotted only a few males who stood out with their deeper blue skin and hair that shifted colors like Mira's eyes. When the ramp lowered, a cheer went up from the crowd. The sisters stepped out first, waving to their people. Jack hung back, unsure of his place, but Lyra reached back and took his hand, pulling him gently forward. A hush fell over the crowd as they spotted Jack, the first human to ever set foot on Lumina. Jack felt hundreds of curious eyes studying him. He stood tall, remembering he was there as the sisters' rescuer. A path cleared through the crowd and a tall, regal figure approached. She resembled the sisters, but with deeper blue skin and hair that seemed to be made of starlight itself. Her eyes were like Lyra's, but with flecks of silver, the Queen of Lumina. Jack realized the Queen embraced each daughter in turn, speaking words too quiet for Jack to hear. Then she turned to him. Her gaze was intense but not unkind. "Jack Harris of Earth," she said, her voice musical yet powerful. "My daughters have told me of your bravery and kindness. Lumina welcomes you." Jack bowed, remembering the protocol Lyra had taught him. Your Majesty, I am honored. To be here, your daughters showed equal courage in defeating the pirates. A smile touched the Queen's lips. You are modest as well as brave. Come, there will be a celebration tonight. In the meantime, you must rest from your journey. Jack was escorted to quarters in the palace that made his room on the ship seem plain by comparison. The walls were transparent crystal that could become opaque with a thought. The floor responded to his steps, creating patterns of light. The ceiling showed an ever-changing view of Luminan Sky's servants brought food and drink unlike anything Jack had tasted before. Fruits that changed flavor with each bite, clear soups that energized his entire body, and beverages that seemed to sparkle with tiny stars. The servants, mostly female, watched him with undisguised curiosity. Some giggled when he thanked them, unused to gratitude from royalty. After resting, Jack was provided with formal attire for the celebration. A suit of deepest blue with silver threads that moved, on their own, creating patterns across the fabric. It fit perfectly, as if made for him, which he realized it probably had been. Vela came to escort him to the celebration. Her silver eyes widened when she saw him. The royal blue suits you well, she said. She herself wore a gown that seemed to be made of flowing silver. The celebration was held in a vast hall with ceiling so high Jack could barely see it. Thousands of luminans filled the space, all in their finest attire. As Jack and Vela entered, conversations stopped and all eyes turned to them. The Queen, who sat on a throne that hovered above the floor, raised her hand for silence. My people, she called out, tonight, we celebrate not only the safe return of the royal princesses, but the bravery of one who is not of our kind. Jack Harris of Earth saved my daughters from pirates at risk to his own life. He has shown that courage and honor exist beyond the borders of our world. A cheer went up. Jack felt his face grow warm with embarrassment. The Queen continued. In accordance with our oldest traditions, he has been offered the sacred bond with those he saved. My daughters have explained that humans have different customs regarding such matters, and our guest has been granted time to learn our ways before making his decision. But regardless of his choice, he will forever be honored as a hero of Lumina music, began to play instruments Jack had never seen before, producing sounds that seemed to touch his soul directly. The sisters took turns, dancing with him, each showing him the steps of traditional Luminan dances. Jack was grateful for his natural coordination, as the dances were complex and flowing. As the night progressed, Jack met many Luminans. High officials asked about Earth and its customs. Artists wanted to know about human creativity. Scientists were curious about human technology, though many seemed surprised by his status as a cargo pilot rather than a diplomat or officer. During a moment of quiet, Jack stepped onto a balcony for fresh air. The night sky of Lumina was breathtaking, with 3 moons of different sizes and colors. Countless stars shone brighter than they ever did on Earth. Mira joined him, her eyes currently a peaceful blue. You seem overwhelmed, I said gently. Jack nodded. This is all so much more than I expected. Your world is amazing. Your people treat me like a hero when I just did what anyone would do. Mira smiled. Not anyone. Many would have ignored the distress signal or left after bringing us to safety. You stayed and fought. That reveals your true character. Jack looked out at the alien sky. The beauty of Lumina was undeniable, as was the kindness of its people. But could he truly belong here? The Queen requests a private audience with you tomorrow, Mira said, interrupting his thoughts. She wishes to speak with you about your future. Jack felt a flutter of nervousness. What would he say to the Queen? Should he accept the offered marriages out of respect for their customs? Or should he explain that humans needed more time to develop such connections? Was there a diplomatic way to handle this situation? The next morning, Jack was escorted to the Queen's private gardens, a paradise of plants unlike any on Earth. Some sang softly. As he passed, others changed color in response to his emotions. Trees with crystal fruit grew beside flowers that floated above the ground. The Queen sat beside a pool of water so clear it was nearly invisible. Fish, that looked like living jewels, swam in lazy circles. She gestured for Jack to join her. My daughters speak highly of you. Jack Harris, she said. The first time ever I have heard all four agree so completely on anything. Jack smiled. The princesses are remarkable. I have great admiration for them. Indeed, the queen studied him, and they have offered you the sacred bond, all four of them. This is unprecedented in our history. Jack chose his words carefully. Your Majesty, I am deeply honored by the offer, but on my world, such bonds are formed after long acquaintance and with one person, not four. The queen nodded. Your daughters explained this to me. They also told me that you did not refuse outright but asked for time. This shows wisdom. Thank you. Your Majesty, what are your thoughts now that you have seen Lumina? She asked. Jack looked around at the beautiful garden. Could I have a place here? Not just as a royal consort, but as someone useful, someone who contributes. The queen smiled broadly. That question proves my daughter's judgment of, your character is correct. Most would ask what Lumina could offer them. You ask how you might serve. Jack felt relief that she understood. I have skills as a pilot, a medic, and in logistics I would want to use those skills. The queen rose, and Jack quickly stood as well. Come, let me show you something. She led him through the garden to a crystal structure that Jack realized was a transport vessel, unlike the ships he had seen before. They stepped inside and within moments were flying over the Luminan. Landscape below them spread vast areas of farmland growing crops in patterns that formed artistic designs. Then came manufacturing centers where Luminans created technology, using methods that seemed to combine science and art. Finally, they approached a spaceport where ships of various designs were being built or repaired. Lumina is peaceful, the queen explained, but the galaxy is not. As you discovered when you met my daughters, we have need of those who understand other worlds, those with courage and practical skills. We have brilliant scientists and artists, but few with experience beyond our borders. Jack watched as they flew over a training facility where Luminans practiced with various technologies. Their movements were graceful, but he could see they lacked the efficiency that came from real experience. If you chose to stay, the queen continued, regardless of your decision about the sacred bond, you would be valuable to us. Your knowledge of other worlds, your experience in space, travel, your practical understanding of survival. These are rare among my people. Over the next week, Jack explored Lumina with each of the sisters as his guide. Lyra took him to ancient temples, where light itself was worshipped, showing him ceremonies that dated back thousands of years. Her golden eyes shone as she explained the history and philosophy of her people. Jack was moved by the depth of their culture, and the reverence with which they treated knowledge. Vela showed him the military and defense systems of Lumina. Though peaceful, the Luminans maintained protection against threats. Jack was impressed by their technology, but could see areas where his practical experience might be valuable. Vela listened with interest to his suggestions, her silver eyes thoughtful. Karina brought Jack to wildlife preserves where creatures of impossible beauty roamed freely. She demonstrated her ability to communicate with them, even encouraging Jack to try. He felt a faint connection to a creature that resembled a six-legged deer with crystal antlers. The experience left him in awe of the harmony between Luminans and their world. Mira introduced him to healing centers where Luminans with abilities like hers treated the sick and injured. Their methods combined technology with natural gifts. Jack shared his knowledge of human medicine, which fascinated the Luminan healers. The exchange of ideas flowed easily, and Jack found himself learning as much as he taught. Each day, Jack grew more comfortable on this alien world. The stares and whispers that followed him gradually changed from curiosity to acceptance. He began to recognize faces and learn names. Luminans approached him with questions about Earth and human ways. He answered honestly, speaking of both the beauty and flaws of his homeworld. In quiet moments, Jack reflected on his life before Lumina. The endless cargo runs the solitude, the feeling that something was missing. He had never felt truly connected on Earth or the human colonies. Here, among these alien people, he felt a sense of purpose and belonging that had eluded him before. Still, the question of the sacred bond remained. Jack spent time with each sister individually, getting to know them beyond the extraordinary circumstances of their meeting. He found himself drawn to each for different reasons. With Lyra, he shared deep conversations about the nature of reality and purpose. Her wisdom and gentle humor touched something in his soul. With Vela, he enjoyed friendly competition, testing skills, and pushing limits. Her determination and practical mind matched his own. With Karina, he experienced quiet moments of natural beauty. Her compassion for all living things opened his heart in new ways. With Mira, he found healing, not just of the body, but of old emotional wounds. Her changing moods and direct honesty kept him balanced. Jack realized with surprise that he was developing feelings for all four sisters. Not identical feelings, but genuine connection with each. He began to understand how their culture might view marriage differently than his own. On Earth, marriage was exclusive, but on Lumina, with its imbalance between females and males, perhaps their approach made sense. 2 weeks after his arrival on Lumina, Jack requested a meeting with the sisters and the Queen. The time had come to make his decision. The meeting was held in a small crystal chamber with views of the capital city. The 5 women watched him with varying expressions of hope and concern. Jack took a deep breath. "Your Majesty, princesses, I have given this matter serious thought. I am honored beyond words by the offer of the sacred bond. Before I give my answer, I want to say that these past weeks have changed me. Your world has shown me possibilities I never imagined." The Queen nodded encouragingly. Jack continued, "When I first heard of your tradition, I thought it impossible for me to accept. I believed humans could only truly connect with one person. But my time here has taught me that the heart has greater capacity than I knew." Jack turned to face the sisters. "Directly, I have come to care for each of you, to appreciate your unique spirits, and to value what makes you different from one another." Hope dawned in their eyes. But Jack raised a hand. "I have also seen that I could have a purpose here beyond the sacred bond. The Queen has shown me how my skills might serve Lumina. I believe that is important." So Jack said, taking another deep breath, "My answer is this. I accept the sacred bond with one condition, that I be allowed to serve Lumina, not just as a royal consort, but as someone who contributes meaningfully. I would like to help train your space pilots and defense forces, sharing what I know of the wider galaxy." For a moment there was silence. Then the Queen spoke. "Your condition honors us, Jack. Harris, it shows you understand the true meaning of the sacred bond. It is not merely a reward, but a commitment to our world and people. I gladly accept your terms." The sisters could contain themselves no longer. They surrounded Jack with joyful embraces. Their happiness was contagious, and Jack found himself laughing as they pulled him into a group hug. The following days were a whirlwind of preparations. The news spread quickly throughout Lumina. A human had accepted the sacred bond with all 4 princesses. Jack received messages of congratulation from across the planet. Many Luminans sent gifts, traditional items, to welcome him to their world. Jack was given lessons in Luminan customs, particularly those related to the sacred bond ceremony. He learned the complex vows he would need to recite in the Luminan language. The sisters helped him practice patience with his pronunciation. The night before the ceremony, Jack stood on the balcony of his quarters, looking up at the alien sky. He thought about the strange path that had led him here. A routine cargo mission, a distress signal he could have ignored, a crash on an uncharted planet. It all seemed like fate, or perhaps something even more mysterious. Lyra joined him, her golden eyes reflecting the starlight. "Do you have doubts?" she asked gently. Jack shook his head. "No doubts, just wonder at how life can change so completely in such a short time. A month ago, I was a lonely cargo pilot. Now I am about to marry 4 alien princesses and begin a new life on a world I never knew existed." Lyra took his hand. "Our people have a saying, the universe guides those who listen to its whispers. Perhaps you were always meant to find us." Jack smiled. "Maybe so. Or maybe we make our own destiny by the choices we make. I chose to answer your distress call. You and your sisters chose to fight alongside me. We all chose to open our hearts to new possibilities. The sacred bond ceremony was held in the great temple at the heart of the capital. The entire city celebrated with festivals of light and music. The temple itself was filled with luminans of high rank. Though the ceremony was broadcast across the planet, Jack wore ceremonial robes of deep blue with patterns of Earth constellations woven in silver threads. The sisters wore gowns that represented their unique qualities. Lyra shimmered with inner light. Vela seemed to defy gravity, moving as if in zero gravity. Carinus was adorned with living flowers that changed color with her emotions. Miras shifted hues with her changing eyes. The queen herself performed the ceremony, speaking in both Luminan and English for Jack's benefit. The vows were not of obedience or ownership, but of mutual respect, support, and growth. Jack spoke his vows in careful, Luminan, his accent causing smiles, but his sincerity clear to all. When the final words were spoken, light seemed to flow from the sisters to Jack and back again, creating a visible bond between them. The assembled Luminans cheered as their princesses, and the human hero were joined in the sacred bond. The celebration lasted for days. Jack was officially given the title of Royal Consort and Defender of Lumina. But true to his wishes, he also began working with the Luminan Defense Forces, sharing his knowledge of space travel and survival skills. His practical experience complemented their advanced technology, creating new approaches to old challenges. As months passed, Jack adapted to life on Lumina. He maintained his quarters in the palace, but also traveled widely across the planet. His unique perspective was valued in many fields, from technology to diplomacy. He became known not just as the princess's consort, but as a contributor to Luminan society. His relationships with the sisters deepened in different ways. With Lyra, he explored philosophy and art. With Vela, he developed new security protocols. With Karina, he helped establish wildlife refugees. With Mira, he advanced medical exchange programs between Lumina and human colonies. Each bond was unique, valued for what made it special. Jack never regretted his decision to stay on Lumina. Though he occasionally visited human colonies as part of diplomatic missions, he found that his true home was now among the stars on a planet that glowed with inner light, with 4 remarkable women who had changed his life forever. Sometimes at night he would look up at the unfamiliar constellations and think about the random distress signal that had altered his destiny. A smile would cross his face as he realized that sometimes the greatest adventures began with a simple choice to help someone in need. Jack Harris had been a solitary cargo pilot, delivering supplies to distant colonies. Now he was a bridge between worlds, a defender, a teacher, a diplomat, and a beloved consort. The universe had indeed guided him to where he was meant to be.